Okay, guys, good morning. We are starting. We have what 11 participants. You guys can hear me? Okay, one of you just kindly let me know whether you guys can hear me. Okay. In between, I am sharing my screen with you guys. Just hold on. Today, we are going to go through a numerical. First of all, we'll see what are the efficiencies of the square threads, like trapezoidal and square threads, and then we will go through a numerical of finding out the total torque. So I have the numerical ready, but before that, I would like to go through some efficiency concept. Okay. So just yes, sir. So I got a response that you guys can hear me. Ruturaj said. So I will continue. So in between, I'm sharing my screen with you guys. Okay, where is that? Power screens. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my notes. Okay. So let's start today's lecture with some basic concepts of efficiency, and then we will take a numerical of finding out the total torque required to raise or lower the rod. Okay, so before that, we have when we since we started, this is I think fourth lecture we are having. Since we started, we have seen different types of what are the square threads, different types of profiles, okay, or the forms, and what is single multi-start thread. Then we have seen the nomenclature, advantages, disadvantages. Okay, and importantly, we have seen what is the torque required to raise the load or lower the load, right, in case of square threads. Okay, we have seen this. We have gone through it in a couple of times. Torque required to raise the load, or when the friction is against load is against the gravity, mt is w into dm by 2 into tan phi plus alpha. Just remember this equation. Torque required to raise a load will be w into dm by 2 tan phi plus alpha, and to lower the load it will be w into dm by 2 tan phi minus alpha. So there are basically two equations are there, one for raising the load, other for lowering the load. And we have also seen that when we lower the load, right, the torque required will be negative if phi is less than alpha. So and that time it will, the screw will come down by itself, so it will not be self-locking. So that time we understood the concept of self-locking, that for self-locking phi has to be or equal to greater than, means phi has to be greater than or equal to alpha. Alpha is helix angle, phi is angle of friction. Okay, so trapezoidal threads, we'll talk about it today also. So we have seen the concept of self-locking screw in last lecture, and we have seen collar friction torque. There are two concepts. One is, there are two things, uniform pressure theory and uniform wear theory. Generally we use uniform wear theory. The torque required to overcome the friction between cup and collar is mu c into w by 4 do plus di. Do inside and outside diameter of the collar, which is basically having friction or which are in contact. W is the load, mu c is the coefficient of friction. So once we know the torque required to overcome the friction of the collar and torque required to raise the load, we can find out the total torque, and that we will use for our design. Are you getting it? I will again repeat. So basically, we will get this torque. We have, when we are raising a load or when we are lowering a load, we are having, we will be overcoming two types of friction, or we have to overcome two types of friction. One is the friction between surfaces of the thread, right? And one is friction between collar and the cup, right? We have to overcome these two frictions, and those two frictions will have two different torques. One is torque required to raise the load or lower the rod. We have seen that, what is the formula for that? It's W into dm by, to raise or lower the load. We have seen, what is the no, okay, we are going to go through the efficiency, but to raise or lower the load, we have seen in last lecture the formula is W into dm by 2 tan phi plus alpha and tan phi minus alpha. Okay, and the for torque mu c into W upon 4 into di plus do. So these are the two formulas we will use, and we will combine them to get the total torque. Now we will see a numerical on this once today's conceptual or the theoretical part is done. But before that, I would like to go through some efficiency of square threads. Okay, so efficiency part I would like to go through. And once we know what is the efficiency, and once we understand the concept of efficiency, I will take a numerical on finding out the total torque required to raise or lower the load. Okay, so in 10 minutes, we have 10 minutes because 20 minutes will be given for the lecture. In 10 minutes, I will try to finish efficiency part. Okay. Now, again, we are taking the same example of raising or lowering the load. So now in case of raising the load, now work output is equal to work. What is the work output and work input? Is force into distance traveled. Load into distance is your work done, right? So in case of raising the load, your load is going up by distance of, let's say, one rotation. Assume that we are completing one rotation, and in that one rotation, we are trying to find out what is the work output and what is the work input, and output upon input will be your efficiency, right? So output will be, your load will be gone up, or it will be raised by distance L. L is the lead. So one rotation of your screw, it will go up by L. L is equal to number of starts multiplied by pitch, right? So when you rotate a screw by 360 degree, it will go up by distance L, right? So the work done will be W into L. So that is your work done in case of raising the load. Now for lowering the load, not lowering, but this is the work output. Means what is you are getting? You are raising the load by distance W into L. You are raising your weight or load W by distance L. Now what is your input? Input is your effort. You are going to put effort P into pi dm. Distance traveled by your effort will be P will be your effort, or your input you are giving, and the distance traveled will be the perimeter of your screw. It is pi dm at the it's basically mean diameter, right? So this low effort into distance traveled by the effort will be your input. So whatever output you have given and divided by whatever input you have, it will be your efficiency. So efficiency will be WL upon P pi dm. So it becomes W upon P, and what is L upon pi dm? It is tan alpha. Alpha is helix angle. So W upon P into tan alpha will be your efficiency in case of raising a load. So when you are raising a load, right, your efficiency will be W upon P into tan alpha, right? Again, now in this equation, what is tan alpha plus phi? It is basically P upon W. So we will get efficiency equal to tan alpha upon tan phi plus alpha. Okay. So efficiency of a square thread in case of raising a load will be tan alpha, right, upon tan phi plus alpha. Okay. Okay, now we can do, so now we can, this tan alpha will be sin alpha upon cos alpha, tan phi plus alpha will be sin alpha upon, so we can do this substitution, then cos will be gone up, sin cos, we'll use some mathematical equation, and we'll get the efficiency equation as sin 2 alpha plus phi minus sin. So basically, these are the two same equations. This equation and this equation are exactly same, only thing we are doing the mathematical substitution. I have removed that part because, I don't want to spend time on that. But basically, we will get efficiency will be sin 2 alpha plus phi. This is actually not maximum efficiency. This is efficiency only. Sin alpha plus phi minus sin phi upon sin 2 alpha plus phi plus sin phi. So for maximum efficiency, to have this term as maximum, we need to have this thing as the max. Sin 2 alpha plus phi. Right? Because, phi is coefficient of friction angle. And so it is fixed. So only you can change your helix angle. So with this we will get sine 2 alpha plus phi is equal to 1. So that time when sine 2 alpha plus phi is equal to 1, that time your efficiency will be maximum. And that when sine alpha, sine something is max, when that angle is 90 degrees, sine 90 is 1. So when 2 alpha plus phi is equal to 90, which gives us alpha is equal to 90 minus, or say 90 upon 2, 45 minus 5 by 2. So what I'm doing, I am dividing this equation by 2. This will be alpha plus 5 by 2 is equal to 45. So alpha is equal to 45 minus 5 by 2. So for helix angle is equal to 45 minus half of friction angle, that time your efficiency will be maximum. That time this equation will be, this term in the bracket will be 1. So this will be sine 90, and then this will be sine 90. So 1 minus sine alpha, 1 plus sine alpha. So you will get ultimately maximum efficiency is equal to 1 minus sine alpha upon 1 plus sine alpha. Are you getting it? So maximum efficiency for a square thread is 1 minus sine phi upon 1 plus sine phi, right? And when that is to when alpha helix angle is equal to 45 minus half of your friction angle. Okay. Now, if we have say angle of friction angle of say 30 degrees, so when phi is friction angle is 30, that time your efficiency will be 33%. Okay. So like this, we can calculate the maximum efficiency for given friction angle, or if you know the coefficient of friction, we can calculate the maximum frequency. Now, maximum efficiency. Now, with this, we know what is the efficiency of a tan efficiency of a square thread is tan alpha upon tan phi plus alpha, and maximum efficiency is 1 minus sin phi 1 plus sin phi. That is true when alpha is equal to 45 minus phi by 2. So these are the conclusions we have got. From that we can we can come to some conclusions like efficiency of a square thread is maximum when we have seen that efficiency of a square thread is maximum when helix angle is equal to 45 minus phi by 2, right? It depends on, say by, it depends on the friction angle. The only two things, maximum efficiency depends on friction angle and helix angle, right? It is not dependent on anything, friction angle and helix angle. And maximum efficiency is when this is true, maximum efficiency is given by 1 minus sin phi upon 1 plus sin phi. Okay, got it? So this is the way we can calculate efficiency of a square thread. Okay. Now, since we have seen efficiency of a square thread, we will see now efficiency of a self-locking. Now, what is the difference for self-locking screw? Self-locking screw phi is always greater than alpha. Means coefficient of friction angle of friction is always greater than alpha. So that is always true. But if we take a limiting condition, that means phi is equal to alpha. So that time, if we try to put here phi is equal to alpha or alpha is equal to phi, you will get tan phi upon tan phi plus phi is tan phi upon tan 2 phi. So it is basically 2 tan phi upon 1 minus tan phi square. When we substitute, your efficiency will be tan phi into 1 minus tan square phi upon 2 tan phi. And so it is basically tan phi will cancel. It is half minus tan square phi upon 2. Right? So what this equation tells, efficiency of a, this is self-locking. This is self-locking screw means when phi is greater than or equal to alpha. Right? So that time efficiency is always less than half up minus tan square phi upon 2. That means efficiency of a self-locking screw is always less than half. See, because we are reducing half minus something. So it is always less than, because phi cannot be negative. So this thing, efficiency of a self-locking screw will be less than, always less than half. So this is the, this is how we can find out the efficiency of a self-locking screw. So similarly, for trapezoidal Acme threads, now for we have seen this in last lecture, that load required for lifting will be this equation. Multiplied by dm by 2, that is radius, will give us the torque required to raise the load. You have to remember these equations. Similarly, to lower the load, this mu sec theta minus tan alpha will be there, and 1 plus mu sec theta tan alpha will be there. And if you try to find out the efficiency, again, say we'll use the same concept, w upon p into tan alpha. Here only difference will be the substitution of this equation. So in this case of trapezoidal threads, efficiency will be given by tan alpha into 1 minus mu sec theta tan alpha upon mu sec theta plus tan alpha. This is the efficiency of trapezoidal or Acme threads. So today we have seen what is efficiency of square threads? Basically, what are the torque required to raise or lower the load? What is the efficiency of square thread? It is mu is equal to W upon P tan alpha. So basically, it will be tan alpha upon tan phi plus alpha. So it is dependent only on alpha and phi, right? Maximum efficiency will be when alpha is equal to 45 minus theta by 2, and that will be 1 minus sin phi upon 1 plus sin phi. This is for square thread. And for the self-locking threads, efficiency will be always less than 1 minus half minus tan square phi upon 2. And for trapezoidal threads, efficiency is tan alpha into 1 minus mu sec theta tan alpha upon mu sec theta plus tan alpha. So these are the efficiency equations. We have to remember these equations. We will not take numerical on these today's, but today we will take a numerical on finding the total torque required to raise or lower the load. Okay, so this was the conceptual part today we are trying to cover. Any doubt, any question you can ask me. Otherwise, I will shift to now numerical part. We are going to take a numerical on basically raising or lowering or finding out the total torque and the total effort required. Okay. Okay, so let me check my chats. There is nothing. Let me just close my this thing. Okay, anything in the chat? So nothing in the chat. So I am shifting to numerical now. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me, and I'm going to share. Let me just start my this video. Whatever I have prepared for the numerical. Okay. On a square. Good morning, guys. Today we will see the numerical on friction torque and the total torque required to raise or lower the load on a square threads. So basically, this is the first numerical we are going to take in a power screw unit power screw. Okay. So we have seen that what is the load required to raise a load or lower a load, right? We have seen that when we are trying to when we are using power screws or square threads to raise a load or to lower the load, what is the what is the torque required is W into dm by 2 tan phi plus alpha. That is to raise the load, W into dm by 2 tan phi plus alpha. And to lower the load, same formula will be there, but there will be sign will be negative. That is W into dm by 2 tan phi minus alpha, right? So we know what is the torque required to raise a load when we are using square threads, right? We know what is the torque required to lower the load, and this is not the only torque which we have to overcome, or this is not the only force or resistance we have to overcome. This is to raise or lower the load, right? The frictional force between the surfaces of the thread. But along with this, we also need to overcome friction of the collar. As I told you, we cannot allow the your screw to touch the object. So we will have something in between, right? A cup, and there will be a friction between the collar and the cup, and that also we have to overcome, right? So for that also we have seen yesterday, like there are two theories, and out of these two we will be using one theory, that is like wear theory, W mu c into W into di plus do, right? Mu c into mu c into W by 4 into di plus do, inside and outside diameter of the collar, and using that we will find out the collar friction, and then we will use the friction, total friction of load, total torque required to raise plus the collar torque, or the total torque required to lower the load and collar torque will be, collar friction torque will be remain in both cases, but this raising and lowering torque will be it will vary. So we will find out the total torque required to raise or lower any load, and accordingly we will find out what is the effort we will need to raise or lower the load. Okay, I will repeat again. So basically, to raise or lower any load, we need to find out what is the like total torque, which we need, what is the total torque required to overcome two friction. There are two places we will be having friction. One between the surfaces of the thread right? And second, there will be friction between collar and the cup. So both these we have to work on. We know formulas for those, and we will use those to calculate the total torque required, right? So we'll take a numerical on that. I will go through the numerical language first, or the numerical what they are trying to ask. Then we will write down as usual, you know, what is given, and then how we will attack this problem. Okay. So I'm going through the problem. I'm trying to read it. A nominal diameter of, so nominal diameter is given, that means we have given a maximum diameter, then we have to find out the mean diameter. We'll be using mean diameter for our calculation. A nominal diameter of a triple threaded screw is 50 mm and pitch is 8 mm. So we have given a nominal diameter, right, and we have given pitch is 8, and it is triple threaded. That means number of starts is 3 given. This is now, see, as what we do generally, while reading itself, we will try to understand and get a complete grasp of the problem. Okay, so we have given number of starts as 3 and the diameter is 50 mm, and then we have given pitch as 8 mm. Okay, and now these are the information about the screw. Now we know with us L. L is what? It is 3. That is 3 times pitch. The number of we know pitch, and it is the triple started. So let it will be 3 times of the pitch. So we already know that P it will be L will be what you can say. In this case it will be 24 mm. So we know that. We know that L is 24 mm, right? So now we need to know what is the mean diameter, right? Mean diameter is equal to nominal diameter minus 0.5 of pitch. So we'll use that. So we now know mean diameter of the screw, right? And we now know length and pitch. All the information we have. Okay. So with this now we'll proceed. Now it is used with the collar having the outer touch. So for collar is given as outer inner diameter. So DOE and DI are given. So this is for collar friction. It is given as 100 and 65. So we know DI and DO, right? So to find out the collar friction, with the formula we'll be using is mu c into W. So we need to know mu c, coefficient of friction, W load in 4 into DI by DO. So DI plus DO. So we know that. Okay. So now they have given coefficient of friction for thread, and so now as I said, there are two places where there will be friction. One between surfaces of the thread, right, and one between collar and the cup. So for both, now here it may be different. So you have to use, if it is different, you have to use different values. But here they have given mu for both of them. It is same, that is 0.1. So we know coefficient of friction, right? So now we think, and lastly we have it is used to lift the load. So we know W1, 15 kilonewton. So it is 15,000 newton. Everything we will try to have uniform. So we have wrote down whatever is given. So first, now as I said, there are two torques. One is the torque to raise up. Now this is to raise or lower the load, right? And then there will be a torque for the collar friction. For collar friction, we know mu c into W. So we know W upon by 4 into di plus do. So we know that we can find out the collar friction torque. And for torque is W into dm into tan phi plus alpha. So we need to know W into dm by 2. Dm is nominal diameter. We have to calculate dm. We know W, right? So we know W dm, and then we have to find out tan phi plus alpha. So this will give us mt. Okay, let me write it down. But before that, we just try to see what. So we need to know torque required to raise the load. So we need to know mt total for raising, right? Then mt torque required total for lowering. These are the two things we need to know. And last thing, force required, P, effort required, P to raise the load. If R is given. Now see, once we know the torque, right? Torque is equal to load into radius. So if we know the radius, we can find out what is the effort or force we will need to raise or lower the load. Okay. So last part is pretty simple. Once we know the torque, But before that, we will try to see how we will attack this problem. Okay. As actually we discussed that, or while dictating the problem itself, we have we have gone through the process. So how we will find out? First, we will find out MD, that is for raise and lower. There are two types, right? So this is will be FW into dm by 2 tan phi plus alpha. Phi minus alpha. Phi plus alpha will be for raising, phi minus will be for lowering. So this is torque to raise or lower the load. Then there will be MG collar friction torque, that will be mu c into W by 4 dr of the dx. So here this is the to raise a load, total torque will be MT to raise the load plus MTC. That is first to raise the load. To lower the load, MT to lower the load, tan phi minus alpha and MTC. So addition of these two will give you the torque required to lower the load. And now the force required or the effort required to raise the load will be torque required to raise the load divided by radius. Got it? Very straightforward problem. But here we kind of we know this. Mean diameter we do not know. Mu c we know. W we know. Here all these information we know. So we need to know phi. So what we need to know? Phi, alpha, and dm. So these three things we do not know. So we need to try to find out that. Okay. First, now L lead is equal to 3.7 feet, which is basically 8 into 3, 24 mm. Okay. So we know first now let now dm mean diameter is always equal to our normal diameter into 0.5. We have seen that one square thread, right? If this is the square thread, this will be pitch, right? And this is half of the pitch, right? For the square thread, right? So we will see mean diameter is equal to D is what? 50 minus 0.5 of P is what? 8. So this will be 4, this will be I think 46 mm. Okay. So we know that mean diameter is 46 mm, right? Let me just verify. And now we need to know. So we have got this. So we should know now tan phi and alpha. Now what is tan phi? Phi is equal to mu, coefficient of friction, right? It is given 0.15. So we can find out phi is equal to tan inverse of 0.15. Okay. So tan inverse of 0.15, that will come down to 8.5. 8.531. Okay. So we know we know phi. So tan now alpha. We know that tan alpha is equal to L upon pi dm. We have seen that, right? We have seen this triangle. If you remember, we have seen this triangle that this is pi dm perimeter and this is L, right? And this is alpha. Helix angle. So helix angle is equal to, so okay, it is not visible. I will just move it a little bit, okay? So this L is lead, then this okay, phi is helix angle and pi dm is the perimeter. Okay. Now by using this one, again my phone has moved, so I don't want it. Okay. So we know L is 24 pi into dm is mean diameter. We have got it, right? 46. So this will be tan alpha will be 0.166. So alpha will be tan inverse of 0.166 and the alpha we will get 9.429. 9.429. So we'll write it here. Alpha is equal to 9.429 degrees. Phi is equal to, we have got 8.531 degrees and dm nominal diameter is equal to 46. So we have got this information now, as we have seen in the approach of the problem. We have all the information whatever we need, and now we will try to solve it. Okay. First, very simple straightforward problem. First of all, we will try to find out the torque required to raise the load is W into dm by 2 tan phi plus alpha. Very simple, right? Here we know everything now. W is what? 15,000, right? 15,000 into Tm, 46 upon 2 into tan phi plus alpha. Phi is 8.531 plus 9.429 kg. Right? So this will give you torque required to raise the load. No, is basically 111,831 Newton. 111,831 Newton. This is the only part for the raising the load or to resist or to overcome the friction of the threads, right? But also we need to find out MTC, like collar friction. Okay, that formula for is mu c W into 4 0 plus vi. Okay, so here we know again everything. 0.15 W 15,000 upon 4 into vi plus 0, 100 plus 65, 165. Okay, and 92,812, 92,812 Newton and everything is, so this is LPC. And now we will see what total torque required will be. What total torque MTT? MTT total torque equal to MT plus MTC. So we'll put those values. We'll have 111,831 plus 92,812. So we get total is required 204,643. 204,643 Newton. This is our first answer. Okay, you got it? Okay, let me just show you. Okay, this is how we will get it. Total torque is required is equal to torque required to raise the load plus collar friction torque. So whatever we put the values, we got 204,643 Newton mm. Okay, got it? Okay. So this is we got the first torque to raise the load is 204,643. We'll write it down somewhere. Okay, we have got NP total for raise, because we will need it at the end. 204,643 Newton. Okay. Why I am not rubbing it? Because I will need exactly same formula for lowering the load. Only thing will be changing here, phi minus alpha. So this will be only. Now see here, you observe keenly that this angle is lower, right? Angle of friction is lower than helix angle. That means it is not a self-locking screw. We have conditioned that phi should be greater than or equal to alpha for a self-locking screw. It is not the case. So this screw is not self-locking, but still it's okay. Why? We'll see that. Now this will get answer now. 8.531 minus 9.429. That will be answer will be has to be negative, and we will get that as minus 5407. 5407 Newton. I'm not writing the points. It is something like 63 Newton mm. Okay. So torque is now negative. Just observe this. Torque is negative means what? We will not need extra effort or extra torque to lower the load. It will come by itself. It is not a self-locking screw. Okay. But still it is okay. Why? Because this is not the only friction. There is also collar friction, and which is always positive, right? So that is still the same. Collar friction is because there is no change. It is only dependent on inside outside diameter of the collar and the load, right? So it will remain same. So here instead of this we will have minus 5407 plus 95, right? Okay. Let me lower a little bit. Okay. And now this answer will vary. Because of this we will get 87,404 Newton mm. So see, now since even though this torque is negative or the effort required is negative, but there is a torque required or effort required for collar friction torque. So if the collar friction torque required is more than the negative work required, your screw will be fine. It will not come down by itself. It is, even though it is not self-locking, it is okay. Okay. So this is the torque required now. I can write it down, but I will not write it down. This is to torque required to lower the load total is 87,404 Newton and okay. Now we know torque required to raise the load, torque required to lower the load. Now simply we have to find out what is the effort required, right? What is the effort required to raise the load? So MT total is equal to load into radius. If it is applied at a radius r, just move it a little bit. Okay. So here we know that it is 204,643 is equal to P into R. Or they have given us 5. So it may be any radius, right? So we will see what is the load required. 409. So now if we say this is the screw and we are putting P here and this radius is now given as 500. So for with this radius this P will be required as 409. So with 409 into 500 we will get a torque of 204,643, right? So we will get that torque and that torque will be enough to raise the load which is basically enough to overcome the friction of surfaces of the thread plus friction of column friction or column friction torque. Okay, so now this is the how we'll address any problem of the square thread. Basically we have to overcome two frictions. First is the friction between the surfaces of the thread, right? That overcome the MT will be W into dm by 2 into tan phi plus alpha, right? And then there will be a collar friction between the collar and the cup. There will be a friction, and to overcome that we will need a torque of Wc into W upon 4 into di plus dy or dy plus d. Okay. Now so using the combine these two torque together, we will get a total torque required, and then we can find out the effort. Okay. This is how we will address any problem of square threaded friction. Now next we will see efficiency. Okay. So that was numerical. So I hope we have what 15 participants. So any doubt, any question you guys can ask me. Otherwise, no, I will call it a day. And in tomorrow's lecture, we will see now efficiency, if possible, numerical on the efficiency and no design. We'll start with the design now. Okay, today we started with the finding out the torque or the effort required. In next lecture, we will do the design. Okay, any question you can ask me? No question? So that's fine then. You guys can quit. I don't know how many are still connected. Last time only 2 guys disconnected after I said, because otherwise simply connected and they were not there. So let's see how many of you guys quit once I say. Okay, just quit now whoever is present so that I will know who are present on out of 15. 3 guys are gone. One more. Okay, good. So 7 guys are there. Anyway, chalo, thank you guys.